Hey guys, it's Stephen here back with another video, and it's the return of the transfer target. I've been promising it since the start of January, but I didn't think there was just enough news to warrant doing a video on all the transfer stuff. But I think at the moment there's a nice collection of gossip to talk about, so I'm going to do that today for you and dive through absolutely loads of transfer rumours, as you can see below on the little bar thing that's not yet to reveal itself. But before I do that, I want to say thank you as ever to OneFootball, who keep giving me the update on all these transfer rumours. That's where I get the news from to talk to you guys about. So go and download it right now. Please download it. It's a fantastic app. It helps support this channel, and you get loads of Manchester City goodness for free. What's not to like about it? So go and download it right now, and the link in the description below. But today we're going to talk about Manchester City transfer rumours, because that's what we all like at this time of year. Now, a disclaimer, I probably don't think some of these things probably won't happen, but I'm going to talk about them anyway. So first up is a big one. It's not really a transfer, but it's stopping a potential transfer. Today, Sean Paul Kearns from the Metro started writing some really positive news. And Sean, please be right, mate, or I'm going to kill... No, I'm not going to kill you. But I'll hunt you down and find where you live, Taken style. No, basically said that Leroy Sane is currently considering staying at Manchester City, which is just the most tempting, wonderful bit of news that I'm too scared to make anything of. But basically, his report said that he feels a bit of a debt of gratitude towards City, given how City have treated him during the last 6 months, and the fact that at no point had they removed that contract offer from the table. And in general, he's not really keen on Bayern's... he's not sure about Bayern's chances of winning major trophies like the Champions League. And he wants to go there to be a star player, but he also wants to be able to compete for major honours. And he's not sure if he can do that at Bayern. And this all sounds really intriguing, doesn't it? Now, I'm hoping this is true. I'm hoping that time's a healer, quite metaphorically and literally in Sane's case. And that maybe some of these bonds that are kind of broken down a bit at Manchester City have started to heal a little bit. And he's maybe thinking, why don't I just stay here? Life is really good. Guardiola probably won't be around in a year and a half. And whoever that manager's going to be, he's going to build the team around me. And I got good mates here, that like me. We all know Sterling loves him, for example. He shared a picture of him recovering from injury recently in training, Sterling, on Instagram, which shows how much he's valued around this squad. And he would obviously be a massive boost for our chances towards the end of the season. And some reports today suggested that he's hopeful of being available for the Real Madrid game in the Champions League, which would be massive. It'd be absolutely huge having him and Laporte back in our squad for those massive games. It'd be great, wouldn't it? Now, I'm very low to kind of jump onto this, but this would be a massive boost on Manchester City. I said the word massive about 5 times there in a minute, because City are a massive club, don't forget. One for the older viewers there. But I do think this would be huge, absolutely huge for us, if we could turn away those vultures at the door, Bayern Munich. And I don't think it's implausible, and I think City have done the right thing to carry on being professional and supporting him, to carry on leaving that offer open for him to stay around. This would be absolutely so critical for our success if we were to do this. Fingers crossed there's actually some life in this. It's not out of the realms of possibility. If it does happen, though, it's probably not good news for the next guy. Now, Jayden Braaf, we all saw him in the UEFA Youth Cup. I think it was last night he played. Oh, yeah, I watched it. It was last night. And he's a very talented, young 17-year-old Dutch winger. He's the big thing at the moment in the academy. Everyone's tipping him to be like the next Sancho or something like that. And the rumours are not good rumours. Now, this was inevitable. It was always going to be the case that some of the big clubs are watching him, because he's exceptionally talented. A very skillful, two-footed, lightning-quick winger with an eye for goal. And a decent size physically, too, which immediately sets him out from some of his peers. Now, apparently the Bundesliga leaguers RB Leipzig want him, and City would get a sizable fee if they got him. This comes from Jack Gorn from the Daily Mail, and Jack's pretty well sourced for these kind of things. Now, I don't doubt for one second that a lot of clubs are looking at Jayden Braaf, because he's absolutely brilliant, a genuinely top-class prospect. You've got to bear in mind, though, that at the start of the season, City did... he did agree in a contract at City until 2023. Some reports suggest, and this is only a report, so you got to kind of take this information with a pinch of salt, that he does believe in himself quite a bit. There's nothing wrong with self-confidence, of course, but it can lead to a player wanting to get first-team football pretty quickly. And some reports seem to suggest that he thinks he's ready for football now. I'm not saying that's arrogance, because I don't know how true those reports are. And he might also believe that there's nothing wrong with confidence, as I just said a minute ago. But if he is confident in his ability to play somewhere, it could be bad news for Manchester City, as it is personally. And I guess you're here for my opinion, I guess, really. So thank you for watching these videos. I don't really think he's ready yet. In terms of, I don't think he should be playing this season. I think if he could be fine if he did play, but I do think he's only 17 still. He hasn't turned 18 until August the 31st. And I think next season is the one for him to be integrated into the squad as that kind of young kid on the bench every now and then. You know what Foden did at 17? I think that's what Foden's doing now still, I guess. But you know what I mean, to a lesser extent, which Foden did initially 2 years ago. I can see him next season being involved in the pre-season with Guardiola, and then once he's been involved in that pre-season squad, he'll have Guardiola's trust and he'll take Poveda's place as the guy around the squad. As it is, I think Poveda's got that kind of first team training squad role, but no trust in Guardiola to be useful, so he doesn't really play any cup games. As it is, whereas conversely, if Braaf was there instead, I think he actually would get minutes on the pitch in like the Carabao Cup and every now and then, and he'd only be 18 for most of the season, so that would be kind of understandable. I think he probably will end up going, but if you can convince him to stay, I think he will be important next year. Fingers crossed he sees the light. Next up is John Stones. We know he isn't going to leave because Arteta's basically confirmed that Arsenal were after him. But I wanted to touch on this anyway, just because it's a rumour I hadn't really mentioned on this channel yet. The idea that John Stones was going to go during the season was absolutely farcical. The idea that Manchester City would just loan a player of his stature in general. And by stature, I mean a first-team player that does play pretty regularly. During the season to another big club in England was just a kind of silly idea. It's the kind of report that you think, why? Who's even entertaining that? I'm sure if City didn't want him, Stones would play for Arsenal, so I don't doubt those reports that he'd be keen to play there. Of course he would. It's Arteta. He knows Arteta, and Arsenal are a big club as well. Even if they're not being successful recently, they're still a huge club, and Stones definitely wouldn't turn his nose up at that. But the idea that City are going to let him walk out now, absolutely nonsensical. As it is, personally, I think he'll be here, and I think he'll stay next season. I think he'll stay during the duration of Guardiola's reign, which leads me on to the next guy, Unai Nunez. This is a young Athletic Bilbao centre-back, only 22 years old, and the temptation here is that he's got a £25 million release clause. Now, we've not heard anything in the past 24 hours, but a couple of days ago, I think it was El Gold Digital, whoever the hell they are. No one knows who they are in England, let's be honest. But either way, they were saying that his departure was almost inevitable, almost certain. And he's a young defender. When you've got that release fee clause and you're talented, then of course some of the big clubs are going to be hanging around him. I'm not going to lie, I've not seen anything of him really. I don't watch Bilbao play very often because I tend to stick to watching City. So there's a lot of people in the comments will probably know more about Nunez than I do. But according to people on Twitter, when I asked what he's like, apparently he's just really good, what you'd expect him to be. A little bit aggressive apparently in his style, decent turn of pace, very good on the ball. Which sounds, like a very Manchester City kind of player, what Guardiola would want, a good passer that's solid. Now, interestingly enough, he got his chance because Laporte moved on. Apparently, that was when he got his chance to play for Bilbao. I don't think this is going to happen, mainly because if he comes in, who's going to go? Now, our squad is currently full of overseas players, non-British players, and Nunez would have to see someone move for him to come in. I can't see a City letting anyone go in this transfer window. As it is, I don't think anyone in the first team squad currently will leave, and I don't think City will sign anyone major, of course. So that's just my opinion. I don't know what you think about him in general. Would he be a good signing in the summer? Let me know in the comments below. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we'll see any major centre-back signings. Sorry, guys. That's why I've not been so keen on doing transfer target videos, because I think it's all been nonsense so far. And I think this, even though we may have watched him, it's just unlikely. Maybe if someone decided to push for a move, maybe we'd go for it then, but that's not going to happen, especially at this mid to late stage of the transfer window. Next up is Carlo Poveda, a very talented young player. This is a bit of a saga, really, but it's ongoing. Lots of very decent teams want him. According to many reports, Leeds manager Bielsa's been on the phone trying to convince him to sign for Leeds, and he's been like, come here and you'll play and all that kind of stuff. And it's usually a good sign of a player's quality if a manager as good as Bielsa wants him. He is apparently interested in signing for Torino. He fancies a move away from England, which wouldn't surprise me given his heritage. He's got a really diverse background in general. I think he's got a Colombian parent or something like that, and then he moved to London when he was younger or something. He can play for lots of countries, put it that way. He is English in terms of youth level. He has played for England, but he's not adverse to playing abroad, given his background, I reckon. And Torino allegedly are interested in him, but they don't think they can match Leeds' potential offer. City apparently have offered him to Celtic, but then with a really low buyback clause, which would make a lot of sense if they thought, right, give him to Celtic, you can do really well over in Scotland, and then we're getting back for dirt cheap. But I'm not sure if he'd want to go there. Who knows? But either way, I think he's obviously going to leave. Poveda is a very talented player, but my worry about Poveda is he's genuinely absolutely tiny. He's so talented, but I think he's just too small to make an impact at the top level. I think he's about the same size as Brahim, but Brahim was stockier. And I think despite Brahim being stocky and a little bit more aggressive, I think even he struggled to make a big impact because of his lack of physique. And I feel it's going to be very similar to Poveda. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe Bielsa can see something there and he can do really well. But It's always been my concern about him, and I think he's got a massive job to try and get in the team. And I think someone like Braaf, he's probably got a bigger chance of doing it. So Poveda probably needs to move on for his career, and I think he'll have a good career. Fingers crossed. Maybe on the continent somewhere will be better for him, but fingers crossed if he does go, he has a very good career. And lastly, a little one about the Ogunby. Henri Ogunby is one of our reserve kind of like winger strikers. He's a really talented little player, but he's really struggled to get game time at youth team level. I think he's had an injury or two here, but he basically is like a right winger or a left winger. He has played through the middle a few times for the EDS. He's only 18, not for the EDS, so for the 18s. He's only 18 at the moment, but he has been given a trial over at Burnley to try and kind of forge a career for himself somewhere else, because I think he's probably accepted that he isn't going to get a chance really at Manchester City, which is understandable when you look at the talent City you've got coming through at the moment. We've got obviously the likes of Cole Palmer, Jayden Braaf ahead of him in games at the moment, so it's tough for him, and that's always going to be a thing. Ogunby himself is a decent little player, very creative, a very tricky little winger, scores goals, but it's just the standard at Manchester City is so high, even at youth level. And if he does go, once again, fingers crossed he makes a good career for himself, and I'm sure he will. Talented little youngster. I think he's only local as well. I think you got him from, I think he's from Bolton or something like that in general. Anyway, guys, that's just my roundup of the rumours so far. What did you make of that? Let me know if you want to see more transfer target videos. Can you see any of these things coming true? Do you think Sane will stay? Not sure, but fingers crossed. What do you reckon to Jayden Braaf, his future, the Stone stuff, the Unai Nunez? Unai Nunez sounds like a made-up Football Manager player, doesn't it? Really does. Poveda and Ogunby and a lot. Guys, subscribe, like, and all the usual stuff. Go and download OneFootball for all your transfer gossip, and I'll see you very, very soon.